Good evening. My name is Brandy Champeau with Exploring Expression, and welcome to another Sunday at 7. I may help parents and educators and caregivers like you become the very best expression of yourself so that you can make learning fun, easy, and natural, not just for your children, but for yourself as well, because you deserve it. And like I said, welcome to another Sunday at 7 here with me and Exploring Expression. So, how was your week? How was your week? Was it good? Was it productive? I've had a great week so far. Um, within reason. The first week um, back to school, we just finished up, and as you probably know, my children homeschool all year round. However, we do more. During the summer, it's lighter, and so we kick off just the same um, with the back to school time. And I talked about that a little bit last week in my Sunday at 7 back to school. And so now we're at the end of that first week of school, and there's been a few bumps along the road. There's going to be, but we got through it, and it has been fantastic. It has been fantastic. Another thing that happened this week is I got the proof in for my new book coming out in September. It's called Little Lion Makes a Roar, and it's all about anxiety. It's all about a little lion, super lion, um, who can't make a super roar, and how his friends come together and help him overcome his anxiety. And I think dealing with worry and dealing with anxiety is so important these days, especially when talking to our children about it. Because, children worry. They worry just like we do and just like adults do. And it's important to have open and honest discussions with them. And things like this can help us do that. And not only do I have the book, and this is not the topic of my Sunday at 7 today, but I just wanted to mention it because I'm I'm always so excited when a proof comes in the mail. It's like Christmas. It's like Christmas. Who here loves getting mail? I mean, it's a little bit harder now that you're adults and a lot of the mail, maybe bills. But anytime a package comes, anytime um, the Amazon man shows up at the door, anytime anytime we get a message or a letter or a card, it's exciting, and it's a moment, a burst of pleasure. And so not only did I get the proof of my book, but for the first time I am offering the activity book, not just on Exploring Expression, but it's going to be coming out on Amazon as well. This is in September, and it's just fantastic. My best one yet, so you're not going to want to miss that. So, what are we talking about today? What are we talking about today on Sunday at 7? I wanted to talk about a subject that's, I couldn't do what I do without it. I couldn't do what I do or be where I am without it. And that is time management. Time management. Have you ever struggled with time management? Have you ever felt like there's not enough hours in the day and not enough you to go around? Right? We all feel like that sometimes. And especially with the start of school, and now we not only have work and civic activities, but we also have, even if your child's in public school or charter school or private school, but especially if they're in homeschool, there's a whole other level of busy. And with fall, now we have started things like um, sports and martial arts, and the dance season has started. You know, we go to dance 3 to 4 days a week. We go to karate 2 to 3 days a week, on top of work, on top of the business, on top of school. And I get asked all the time, how do you find the time? How do we, as parents, as caregivers, find the time to do everything there is in running a household, in raising our children, in working our jobs, and still have time to breathe? When was the last time you took the time to breathe? Right? Try it. Doesn't that feel nice? Taking the time and making the time. That's one of the things I say all the time is when people ask me, how do you find the time to such and such? I always answer them, I don't. I don't. If I had to find the time for everything we have to do, it would never happen. You make the time. And I'm going to give you 5 tips. 5 simple tips to help you make the time to become your best expression. To not only become your best expression, but to help facilitate your children to their best expression. 5 simple steps. Number 1. Ready? Number 1. Know what's on your calendar. That seems so simple, but it's perhaps the most important. Know what it is that you do in a day. Take a week, take the next week from here, the next 7 days, and just jot down or note down or think about what you do in your day, what you have in your week, what you're doing when you get up, what time do you get up, and then what do you do, and then where do you go, and then what happens next, and what time do you go to bed? What do you do to fill your day? Because if you don't pay attention to it, one of the big keys to becoming your best expression is being intentional with our movements. But the first step to being intentional with it is to pay attention to it. Right? This is important, so I'm going to say it again. Before you can be intentional with it, you need to pay attention to it. Right? So, step 1 is to know what's on your calendar. Get yourself, whether you use your phone calendar, whether you use a wall calendar, whether you use a bullet journal, write it down and know what's in your day. Step 2. Once you know what's in your day, then be realistic with your time. Be realistic with your time. Let me give you an example. Several years ago, before I really started this intentional living and this journey towards my best expression, because remember, I didn't start here. I had to start where everybody comes from somewhere, and so I had a journey to get here. One of the things I would often do is I would say, okay, we have this activity, and this is an hour. Let's say this starts at 2 o'clock. Well, then I can schedule this activity at 3 o'clock because that activity will be over, right? Except for the fact that it's a 20-minute drive between those 2 activities. And so every single week and every single time we had that, I was what? I was late. And when you're late, you get stressed and you get nervous and you get tense and you make mistakes, which makes you more late. Right? So be realistic with how long it takes to do things. How long does it take to do things? I coach a lot of people, and I coach several people in the writing and the self-publishing of their books and of their projects and of their children's books. And one of the biggest things I find out is a lot of people underestimate the amount of time it takes to get a book illustrated, right? Even if you are going out to someplace and hiring the illustration and doing all that yourself, or even if you're making the illustrations yourself, how long does it take? Because you can't make 35 pictures in a day, right? Be realistic with your time. Okay, so that's 2. Remember, the first one is know what's in your day calendar. The second one is be realistic in your time. Okay? And it's not just for production, but think about your homeschool. How many pages of math can your child realistically do in a day? How long does it take them to do a page? How long can your child realistically sit? How long can they sit in that chair before they have to get up and move? So if you're planning 6 pages of math in an hour, is your 7-year-old going to sit there for that? Or would it be better to do a little block here and a little block there? Pay attention to what's in your day and be realistic about how long things take. Okay, tip number 3. Right? Tip number 3. Decide on the big things. Okay? Once you've decided what you have to do, and as you put this down, not only look at your calendar, but look at your goal sheet, right? And decide what are the deal breakers? What are the have tos? What are the hot ticket items? Okay? And let me put a caveat right here. Not everything can be a hot ticket item. Not everything. So if you have a list of like 10 things, if you have a list of 10 things that you do in your day, you can't have 10 emergency activities. Right? Something has to be more important. If you were to list, try this. Try listing all of the things that you want to do in a day in order from this is non-negotiable to if something happened, this could slide. What's non-negotiable in your day? Think about your homeschool. Think about the subjects that your child is learning. Which of those are non-negotiable? I'm not saying which are important because they're all important or they wouldn't be in your list, right? We're not in the business of doing stuff that doesn't matter here. Everything's important. But in time management, some things are more important than others. And make sure you know what those are so that you can tackle those first. Because once you've decided what are your hot items, once you've decided what's important, every time you sit down to this task, for example, let me give you an example. I have a limited amount of time to work on production of new projects. Things like the books, things like the curriculum. I have this much time in my calendar, in my schedule to work on those things. And I have a list this long of things that I'd like to work on. But remember, I said, you have to decide what's the hot item. And so in my list, I've decided, okay, this product is coming out next. This product is coming out next, so it's the hot item. Or this product has a deadline. Or this product I'm getting ready to have a meeting on. Right? And so when I sit down to that block of time that's devoted to product development, I spend half of my time on my hot items. Right? So let's move this to educating your children. You know what subjects are important to your family. You know what things in your day are important to your family. So when you sit down with your calendar, blocking out your time, put those things in first. Put those things in first and schedule the rest of your stuff around it so that the hot items get accomplished. Right? Okay, so we had 1, know what's on your calendar. Pay attention. Pay attention. You have to pay attention before you can be intentional. Number 2, be realistic with your time. Be realistic with how much time it takes to do things and how much time you have in your day. Number 3, decide on the big things. What's hot item and what's not. What's important and what's less important. Now, what's not important, but what's less important. Number 4, you ready for this? Number 4, automate and delegate. Automate and delegate. What does that mean? That means the things that can work on their own, let them do so. The things that can happen on their own, let that happen. The things your kids can do on their own, let them do that. Right? When I plan my kids' homeschool and I sit and I look at their schedule and the order in which they work day by day, I have in my little journal of my homeschool marked down this one Joshua may need my direct attention. This one Daniel may need me to read it to him. This one they can do on their own. This one Joshua can do on his own. This one I can just hand it to him and they can take care of that. So while I'm working and while I'm helping another or while I'm doing all of the other things that I have in my day, they can be doing the items on their list that they can do independently. If they can do it independently, let them. Or how about with your household duties, right? If your kids are capable of picking up their room, which most children are, unless you have the little ones, let them do that. Let them do it. Let them take ownership. Delegate it. Say, okay, you are the official dishwasher unloader from this point forward. That's your job. And then let them do it. Figure out methods to facilitate. Think of ways that you can facilitate the delegation of tasks that maybe don't need your direct attention, so that your attention and your time, which is valuable, can be spent on value-added activities. You want to spend your valuable time on value-added activities. Right? So if something can be automated, if something can be delegated. Hey, Lavette, how are you? If you can give it to somebody and then release it, because let me tell you this, if you're following behind them every step of the way, checking to see if all the steps were done, let me ask you this. Have you delegated anything? Have you really delegated anything? Train them in the way that they should go, and then let them go that way. Right? Teach it to them right. You know, that's why I say all the time here at Exploring Expression, we are raising learners, not students. Because the goal is to get our children and ourselves to the point where they seek knowledge, so that we don't have to always feed it to them. We want our children to be explorers, to be seekers, to be learners, not to be students. And part of that is delegating to them, delegating the responsibility to them, those things which they are old enough, mature enough, able enough to have. So, 5. So we've had know what's in your calendar. We've had be realistic with your time. We've had decide on the big things. And then we had automate and delegate. Right? Put those processes in place. And then trust them to be there. And number 5, give grace. Give grace. Give grace to those around you, and give grace to yourself. Because I guarantee you, I consider myself pretty much an expert in time management. I do a lot. I pack a lot into my time. But there are days, and I'm going to be honest with you. We're all about honesty here. There are days it doesn't work. There are days just that today was one of them. I had a beautiful stack of things I was going to accomplish. Videos to record and curriculum to develop. I'm hard at work on my Country Plus curriculum, and I have videos set to record over here for the courses I'm going to be teaching with Blue Star Virtual Learning starting in September, and this beautiful list of things to do. However, sometimes the boys can entertain themselves, and sometimes they can't. And when they can't, I have to be okay, because I know what my big things are. Remember all the way back at option, was it 3? Decide on the big things? My big things are the health and the satisfaction, and my big things are my children. So if today is a day that my older son, who has autism, just can't do it, I have to be okay with that, and I have to give myself grace, and give him grace, and give my schedule grace. Right? And then what I do is at the end of that period, when that passes, I look back and I say, I know the big things got done. I can fit those little things in again tomorrow. Because, friends, tomorrow's still going to come. Tomorrow's still going to come, and we'll still move forward, right? Time management is all about being intentional with your day. And even when everything goes wrong, even when anything goes wrong, if you're paying attention, then you can be intentional and say, all right, I didn't fit it in here. I got some space here. Because I can do this because I know what's in my day. I know what I do with my time, and I know how it's spent. Right? I can do this because I'm realistic with how long things take. I know how long it takes to record a video. I know what I have to say because I'm prepared. I know how long that process is. So whether or not I was able to get it done at 2 o'clock, like I had hoped, or if I'm going to do it at 9:30 after the boys go to bed, which may happen, knowing what's in my day and being realistic about it and understanding what my hot items are allows me to intentionally manage my time, and you can too. And you can too. We can all be masters of time management in our lives. All it takes is a start. Start somewhere. Start somewhere. And that somewhere is start by paying attention to what you do. To what you do. Because you already have the tools you need. You already have them. And that's that. That's that. So thank you for joining me. And like this video and share it. Share it with somebody that you know that needs to hear it. Because there's time. When will you find the time to be your own best expression? You won't. You have to make it. You have to make it because it's important and you can do it. And until next time, I'll see you later.